While all of Europe's top national leagues have found a champion, in the Premier League, by the end of the season, the war here has officially ended. This is the 37th round, and in theory, the chances of winning the championship are the same for both Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. Coach Pep Guardiola's army is the one with the greatest advantage. If the citizens win the match against Fulham in the 37th round, they will officially regain the lead in at least one day. At the end of this season, it is difficult to find a team that can stop Manchester City's progress, and Fulham is no exception. With home field advantage and outstanding squad quality, Pep Guardiola's students did not hesitate to push their squad to attack aggressively right from the first minutes. In the 12th minute, Man City scored the opening goal from Josko Gvardiol. As soon as they get what they need, the home team players play much more comfortably. However, despite creating an overwhelming position, Man City did not attack too aggressively in the remaining minutes of the first half. After the break, Man City players increasingly increased the pressure to attack in an attempt to finish the match to avoid making mistakes. Because they know that in football, a one-goal difference is always very slim. By the 59th minute, their efforts during the previous minutes had paid off. In a chaotic situation in front of Fulham's goal, Phil Foden was the one who took advantage of the opportunity to increase the score to 2-0. Even though they almost had victory in hand, the home team still had no intention of stopping. In the 71st minute, Josko Gvardiol scored the ball from close range to increase the score to 3-0. Before the match ended, the citizens had another goal to seal a 4-0 victory after Julian Alvarez successfully converted a penalty. This result helped Pep Guardiola's army temporarily rise to the top of the rankings with 85 points after 36 matches played. This will be a lot of pressure for Arsenal, who are expected to face a much more difficult challenge when they have to march to Old Trafford. During the recent rounds, coach Mikel Arteta's team had to strive to gain every possible point while also hoping that their direct competitor would fail. But the trust that the Gunners placed in their neighbour Fulham in the last match was completely disappointed. But even so, compared to the shortfalls at the end of last season, this campaign by the representative from North London has brought a very different image. They played with more tenacity and bravery, and were no longer immature when under pressure, but their opponents were simply still too strong. If Pep Guardiola continues to lift the Premier League Championship trophy this season, it will be a great achievement that Pep Guardiola achieves in England's highest tournament. Now they are very close to the unprecedented achievement of winning the Premier League for the fourth time in a row. Something that no team has ever achieved in the 135-year history of the tournament. It is true that after winning the Champions League at the end of last season, there were signs of decline for Man City in the first half of this season. Many people even expressed concern when witnessing the turbulence that Man City faces. They had a busy schedule in many competitions and struggled to deal with player injuries. And there were times when they were left behind by both Arsenal and Liverpool. It seemed like the time had finally come for Man City's era of dominance in the Premier League to come to an end. But they knew how to return at the most important moment. Every time the season comes to an end, Man City shows more and more destructive form. In the last 7 matches since the beginning of April, Man City won all 7 matches, and more importantly, most of them were wins with a very large margin. If this form continues to develop, by the time the season ends, they will not be too worried about having to decide the championship with Arsenal by extra points. Because now the gap between them is only just 2 goals. Pep Guardiola said that Man City players always show interest when they have to play under pressure. The more pressure they have, the more inspiration they find when playing football, which is the factor that creates a team tradition filled with titles throughout the years. Man City's victories like this are an affirmation that their destruction mode is still on to compete hard with Arsenal in the key period.